to use punts. Tempted to get a bit of curve on. Had a fair amount of curve on its way through towards Preston Hugo as well. It was a little bit aggressive from Son Heung-yeon, but that's excellent work from Brandon Reeves. Reeves putting the ball into a dangerous area, and it's put over his own bar by Alex Barnett. Well, that could have gone a lot worse and would have capped off a calamitous last 15 minutes or so. We are in added time at the end of the first half, and you have just joined us on the live stream, so welcome to a bitterly cold Talabudra here. Getting some nods of agreement from the spectators down to our left. They're well wrapped up, so are we up here in the commentary position as Connor Smith and he's had an incredibly busy last 15 minutes or so. Goals for Suburbs made the breakthrough. Preston Hugo showing some fancy footwork to get the ball past Tim Laheath in the Gold Coast United goal. That was in the 31st minute. In the 33rd minute, Michael Thwaite headed Gold Coast United level. Then a calamitous situation saw Sam Long play a really quick goal kick out to Alex Barnett, and he trod on the ball, slipped, allowed Tom Miller a 3-run at goal. And it's still ping bowling around. That's the third ball we've had cleared off the line. It didn't go over this time. I'll come back to the summary in a minute. It's still there, and there's a little bit of a tangle going on in the penalty area. Everyone's told to leave each other alone. Fine advice, I believe. And here's an opportunity for James Meyer. Meyer up against Miller. Meyer, tenacious and battling, does really well. Plays in Yoo-Hun Yang, but his pass was just too wide. And Michael Thwaite showing a burst of energy towards the end of the half. And that'll be the end of the half. And what a end of the half it was. I'll come back to you as, again, apologies for our late entry into this one, but we had a few problems due to circumstances beyond our control, so I will do an extended wrap at the end of this first half. Gold Coast United 2, Eastern Suburbs 2. It was 0-0 up until the 30th minute. Half an hour of this game without too many chances, to be honest. Neither side's keeper having too much to do, and then everything seemed to happen all at once. Preston Hugo managing to skip his way past the attentions of Tim Laheath in the Gold Coast United goal to score the first in the 31st minute. And as I've mentioned, Michael Thwaite from a set piece. Connor Smith has been deadly from set pieces over the last 45 minutes. He's been whipping them in from left and right, and he's done absolutely brilliant there to put the ball right onto the head of Michael Thwaite, who's always a threat with his height, the former Socceroo, and he managed to put that ball right into the back of the net. Fantastic effort. Then Tom Miller. It was a calamitous mistake from Alex Barnett over on that far side. Sam Long played the ball out quickly from a goal kick. This was a minute after Michael Thwaite had pulled Gold Coast United level, and Tom Miller was given a free run at goal. And he didn't make any mistake to give Gold Coast United the lead. Then, in the 36th minute, Yoo-Hun Yang. Excellent pass from James Meyer, out wide to Yang, and he made no mistake from an acute angle to put the ball past the despairing dive of Tim Laheath, who hit the ground in frustration, and that made it 2-2 after 36 minutes. So 0-0 in the 30th minute, 2-2 after 36. In that time, Gold Coast United had 2 balls cleared off the line, and there were long looks from our Total Tools referee as to whether that ball actually did cross the line. Michael Thwaite's header was initially cleared off the line, but it was adjudged to have crossed the line in its entirety, and that was that. We'll have a short break here, and I appreciate that you've just joined us, but we have been calling the entire first half for your viewing pleasure at a later date. So you will be able to go back and watch that first half when it's uploaded later on. Again, apologies for the late joining of this game, and apologies that you missed all the action. And there has been plenty of action. A little bit of heated exchanges as well after Eastern Suburbs' second goal. But we'll have a short break, and we'll come back to you after these short messages. For White, breaks into the penalty area, 1-0 Olympic!
95 minutes in, and Sean
Ball
Carlos.
right into a dangerous area, and the ball is in the back of the net!
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football? I play for fitness.
Competition.
Community spirit. It's healthy and safe. And fun.
I play for celebrations.
What's your reason? Join our team.
My favourite part about playing football is that it's fun.
Because it's fun and it improves your ability to do stuff.
Because it's fun and you get to have fun and meet new people.
It's just the game I play and it's a lovely sport.
And because it's fun and I'm playing with my friends.
I like to play football because it's a great experience to make new friends.
I like to play football because it's fun, you don't have to use your hands, and it's really fun to play. Teamwork, passing, and to never give up.
All that matters is just have fun and do your best.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
For White, breaks into the penalty area, 1-0 Olympic!
95 minutes in, and Sean
Ball
Carlos.
right into a dangerous area, and the ball is in the back of the net!
Why do I play football?
Why do we play football? I play for fitness.
Competition.
Community spirit. It's healthy and safe.
And fun.
I play for celebrations.
What's your reason? Join our team.
My favourite part about playing football is that it's fun.
Because it's fun and it improves your ability to do stuff.
Because it's fun and you get to have fun and meet new people.
It's just the game I play and it's a lovely sport. And
Because it's fun and I'm playing with my friends.
I like to play football because it's a great experience to make new friends.
I like to play football because it's fun, you don't have to use your hands, and it's really fun to play. Teamwork, passing, and to never give up.
All that matters, just have fun and do your best.
Your chemist in the know. Say hello to your Chem Pro.
Welcome to Chem Pro, Sally. How are you today?
Oh, not 100%, I'm afraid.
Well, maybe we can help. We can do a pain management plan for you or a free blood pressure test.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
We also offer health checks and our pharmacist can give you an annual flu shot.
And the best advice to help you get back on track.
Over 80 stores from Caloundra to Lismore. Chem Pro are your local community pharmacist.
Say hello to your Chem Pro.
There is so much that I'm learning, coming in as a coach, you think that you know a lot, but it's like it just brought me back down to earth to let me feel like, wow, I'm just starting all over again.
You've got people with experience, obviously tried and tested protocols, different styles and methodologies. So there's a broad range of subjects which I think allow people to take something from the whole event, whether that's a number of things or one thing, that's really all that counts.
I think the discussion and building the passion for it and the understanding that we're all contributing for the sole purpose that kids with a dream can go to the national team level and then perform at the level required to really represent our country as best as possible.
If everybody does the same things, if we are doing exactly the same things at once and the others, and we are not trying different things and we are not picking things which are different to what we are used to do, if we don't go out of our comfort zone, we are not going to improve.
I'm a great believer in CPD is vital, and continuous professional development is the only way we learn, formally and informally. This is a formal set of talks, but the sort of talks in this area, which is like the coffee and breakout informals, are as important. And hopefully this stimulates coaches to think differently, realise they're on a journey, they don't have all the answers.
Okay, we are back underway here at Coplix Family Sports Park. It's 2-2 the score if you've just joined us. And you have just joined us because we had unfortunate technical difficulties in the first half. And we apologise for that because we missed an incredible first half of football in which we had a flurry of goals just after the half-hour mark. 4 goals in 5 or 6 minutes or so. And from that point on, it was rather frenetic after a rather, if we're honest, sedate first half hour. It took the players a while to warm up, and it is cold here. 11 degrees for temperature at the moment here in Talabudra. And it's Eastern Suburbs getting things underway. James Meyer almost getting to that ball ahead of Tim Laheath, who was a late change after Duro Dragesovic, the normal goalkeeper for Gold Coast United, former Joey's keeper, of course, pulled out with illness. And, of course, with winter coming and coming to bite hard here in the southeast corner of Queensland. I jest not, 11 degrees is cold in Queensland. There's a fair bit of flu around. Barnett had to work hard to that one. Disappointing. Pass from Scott Fulton, a little bit too heavy. It's Gold Coast ball. Mackay back there. Here's an opportunity for Fulton to make amends. Lovely touch. Comes back inside. The return pass to Jordan Farina prompts a cry of anguish from the Eastern Suburbs stalwart. He scored 16 goals this season, Jordan Farina, but he hasn't scored any of the 4 that have been scored here today, the 27-year-old. He would have been close then had that ball been weighted a little bit better. Dramatic end to that first half. Gold Coast United going a goal down through Preston Hugo, getting a goal back from a Michael Thwaites header, but it looked like it'd almost been cleared off the line, just like 2 other Gold Coast United shots. So they've certainly had their chances of Gold Coast United. Good chase from Preston Hugo. He just put Tim Laheath under enough pressure there. So Michael Thwaite getting that equalising goal, and then moments later Tom Miller capitalising on a horrible mistake by Alex Barnett. He trod on the ball after getting Sam Long's quick goal kick played into him. Ended up falling on his backside and could only watch in horror as Tom Miller gave the hosts the lead. It's headed away then by Dean Verneson. Not enough of a strong call from Tim Laheath. You can see that sometimes when a keeper comes back or comes back into the side having not played for a while. He played a few games at the start of the season, Tim Laheath. He's been involved in 8 so far and played in the under-14s. Played 14 times for the under-20s as well, getting my numbers mixed up a little bit there. Can cause a little bit of confusion, and we saw that there, but no damage done for Gold Coast United. And go out for a corner and they can launch from the free kick now. Mackay challenged them there in the midfield with Scott Fulton. Meyer let that ball run away from him. Ronald to Chester Fulton, a little bit scrappy. Here's Hugo. Hugo rather left that for Matt Byrne. Didn't look like Byrne had anticipated that from Tristan Hugo initially, but it all worked out in the end. Here's an opportunity for Farina now to launch an attack. There's 4 players running forward, including Farina, for Eastern Suburbs. It's switched over to the far side and Preston Hugo. Hugo back inside to Farina. Farina's going to shape to shoot here, but he's been closed out by 2, 3 Gold Coast United defenders, and it was Justin Mackay the third who made the vital challenge and stole the ball. And now Gold Coast United are going to try and attack, but they can't get the ball past Scott Fulton, who'll launch an attack of his own. But then, having coughed up possession, Tom Miller wins it back. Back though at the feet of Eastern Suburbs in the black and white stripes. And that time Preston Hugo unable to keep the ball under control, but he does win a throw-in for his side just in front of the Gold Coast United bench. If you have just joined us and are unfamiliar with the league, it's Gold Coast United in the yellow, Kicking from left to right as you see things. Yellow shirts, blue shorts, blue socks, yellow trim on the shorts, and Eastern Suburbs in the white with the black stripes and black shorts. Farina can't quite get the ball under his control there. And Mackay's pass was deflected and picked up by Reeves. Meyer, his pass picked off by Reeves, and then that was certainly a foul by Scott Fulton on Justin Mackay. Justin Mackay being told to take the ball a fair bit back. The dulcet tones of Connor Smith making his ideas heard. All the way over on that far side of the field. The ball doesn't end up on that far side. We continue getting a close look at the action in front of us here in our commentary position at Coplix. It's a freezing cold Coplix as well. That's a lovely weighted pass from Smith for Wagstaff. Wagstaff gets inside Hugo but can't get the better of Alex Barnett. It is there. But Barnett's pass through to Farina, and Farina flat-footed, unable to do much about it. Thwaite mopping up at the back. It's played forward over on that far side to Smith. He pops up everywhere. The diminutive, effervescent midfielder for the Gold Coast United side. Wernerson. Mopped up at the back for Eastern Suburbs. Can't quite get the ball away though. And it will be Thwaite taking it upon himself to deliver that ball forward. It's picked off by Tristan Hugo. And Hugo's going to launch this one forward towards Farina. Farina with the cushioned header. It's a good one. And Eastern Suburbs build over on that far side of the field. In front of a few hardy souls joining us here at Coplix Family Sports Park in Talabudgera. 11 degrees. Which for a Queenslander, just take 10 degrees off, and that's how it feels like to normal people. Oh, here's an opportunity now for Eastern Suburbs with Fulton. Fulton with a blistering drive, and that's a fine save from Laheath. He had all of the goal to aim at, did Scott Fulton. Laheath, who had some shaky moments in that first half, made a fine stop there. Play on is the call. It's all got a little bit scrappy. Here's Fulton. Fulton skips past one challenge, skips past another. But this time he wins a free kick. We're going to see our first yellow card. It is our first yellow card, and it is handed to Justin Mackay, his third of the season. And Christian Rees just giving a little bit of advice to our Total Tools referee. He does that on occasion, and has been doing so in this game. He's been markedly frustrated. A couple of marginal offside calls against Kian Kuba in the first half, and then a couple of balls cleared off the line. Although one that wasn't would have made it a third, ended up being the second goal, the first goal, apologies, second goal of the game, first goal for Gold Coast United. That from the head of Michael Thwaite. That free kick comes to nothing. Justin Mackay, hugely experienced player from Swindon in the UK. Being told to cool down by the combustible Christian Rees. Farina again, not willing to chase that ball. Michael Thwaite having an easy run back to collect, and he'll pass back inside to Laheath, who I've mentioned a couple of times, next to the giants of Thwaite and Wernerson, actually looks quite small. Massive individuals at the back there for Gold Coast United. Mackay. It's a looping delivery over to that far side, and Kian Kuba. Cuba's going to run onto this one. It's a really good pass. It holds up just enough for the right-sided attacker. Over on the left-hand side, he's cutting back inside on his right foot. Goes onto his left, still there on his right foot. And he wins the ball back. He's going to shape to shoot here. It's too much traffic ahead of him. Smith, Mackay, Wagstaff, Mackay again. Mackay wanted to give that ball back to Smith. Instead, he goes back to Campbell. Gold Coast United maintaining possession brilliantly here. Forced all the way back to Thwaite. Thwaite being challenged by Jordan Farina. And Thwaite wins that ball. There's a frustrated cry and admonishment from Jordan Farina over on that far side. He of the famous name. Drifting towards that back post. Onto the chest of Tristan Hugo, the older of the two Hugo boys. Oh, it's going to fall, is it, for Yabe? It was not quite there. How's that for a long ball all the way up to Farina? Farina needs support, has it in Maya. Goes over the top, though, to the far side, and Son Young-hyun was the player that time who cast his eyes up to the heavens in frustration. It's the right idea from Jordan Farina, it has to be said. Battling game of football so far, particularly in this second half. Neither side willing to give an inch. Lovely ball and control from Preston Hugo. Verneson did really well there. Still at the feet of Eastern Suburbs, though, as Maya gets hammered to the ground late by Campbell, and that is a free kick. And Maya looks on in disappointment towards the referee, who he gave an almighty spray in the first half, and to be honest, I'm glad we might be able to go back and bleep some of that stuff out, because it wasn't suitable for a young audience, that's for sure. While this free kick's just about to be taken, we'll just remind you that the Aldi Mini Roos kick-off programme is an introductory programme for children aged between 4 and 9 years old. Each weekday, 45-minute game-based programme. Each child receives an Aldi Mini Roos participant pack, which includes boot bag, ball, water bottle and a sticker sheet. So make sure you sign up, footballqueensland.com.au for all the details. Maya swinging the ball in towards Farina, who rose highest. Covered well by Tim Laheath. Mackay will do well to get this one under control quickly. Kuba does well to get that ball under control quickly. He races towards a penalty area. He wins a corner for his side, and as we've seen in the first half on a number of occasions, Connor Smith is trotting over to take it, the Liverpudlian 22-year-old. He's a fine player, and he's an even better deliverer of set pieces. We'll put this one right onto the money. And when you've got tall players of the likes of Tyler Wagstaff, Michael Thwaite, Dean Verneson, he's got plenty of targets to aim for. It's at the back post, and Verneson, it's still there for Gold Coast United. It's played out by Thwaite. Verneson had two digs at that one. It's headed into the back post. It is in at the back post. Gold Coast United lead. Not quite sure who got it in the end. I have a feeling it was either Yunya Yabe. Appeared to be the player who was being congratulated first up. Brandon Reeves it is who got the goal, according to the people over on the far side of the field. Brandon Reeves, 9th goal of the season, his second against East this year. We had a flurry of goals around the half-hour mark. Now we've ticked over into the hour mark. Maybe we're going to have another flurry. You're at your most vulnerable after you've just scored, and both sides gave credence to that saying in the first half. And quite wisely, Tim Laheath opting to take as much time as possible off the clock before the pressure could come back on. Lovely first time ball from Smith over the top towards Miller. Miller's going to do battle over on that far side. The ball was out, surely. It was. Good battling. over on that near side. Tom Miller, who scored Gold Coast United's second. Fortuitous, lovely finish, but fortuitous in the fashion that it came about. Still involved in that battle with Alex Barnett. Reeves goes down. So did Campbell. No foul forthcoming from the referee. Kuba spins around like a top and then continues on his merry way over on that far side, but he's come up against an impenetrable wall that is Yuhun Yang. Kai's pass cut out by Barnett. Clearance by Long. Meyer has a lot of space to operate in. He's closed down though by Miller. And perhaps that was in the back of his mind, although the way the looks are being cast from James Meyer towards the two players over on that far side, Jordan Farina and Yuhun Yang, perhaps he was expecting a little bit more. Farina was offside, coming back. Either assistant over on that far side is waving his arms around, either that or he's as cold as we are up here in our commentary position. Are we sure it's 11 degrees? So you know our camera operators are taking it in turn so their hands don't get too cold. It's a fairly wise effort, to be honest. That does give an indication. It's the first real cold snap we've had this year. Plenty more cold months to come to look forward to. What better way to enjoy the National Premier League's Queensland than in the comfort of your own home on the live stream. Every single game is live streamed from the National Premier League Queensland, and indeed the match of the week, in which you can listen to the dulcet tones of myself or one of my fellow commentators, and we'll talk you through it. And additionally, Football Queensland are offering the live stream match from the Football Queensland Premier League and the Women's National Premier League's Queensland every single week as well. Check out footballqueensland.com.au and the social media channels at FootballQLD on Twitter and Instagram, and Football Queensland on Facebook and YouTube to check out the schedule for those matches. But it's a pleasure to be alongside you. I'm Simon Smale, and the game here is still evenly poised. Gold Coast United 3, Eastern Suburbs 2. We haven't had that second flurry of goals that I potentially promised you, but at least we didn't miss all of them in that first half. 4 goals in the space of 5 minutes or so in the first stanza, around just after the half-hour mark. Hugo gets things moving quickly. Sliced, though. And Tyler Agstaff had to hammer that ball away, lest it fall into the possession of Preston Hugo. Tristan Hugo, the older of the two Hugo boys, was the one who played that admittedly indifferent free kick forward. We're going to see a double substitution. Well, that might be delayed, so the throw-in is taken. Scott Coulson, one of the players coming on, didn't have his match shirt on. Swept in by Barnett. It's a looping one, comfortably dealt with by Tim Laheath. Joni Ballarizo, talented player, will be coming on for Eastern Suburbs, as well as James Meyer, as well as Scott Coulson, apologies. 2 more former Brisbane City players in this Eastern Suburbs lineup. Coulson has fixed his equipment issue, and he's ready to come on as well in the number 11 shirt. And it's the stoppage in play, and we will see how Danny Wright will shuffle his pack. Yuhun Yang is one of the players who's being withdrawn. It might be James Meyer who's coming off. So Yuhun Yang, who scored his 3rd goal in as many games, is being withdrawn. He scored the equaliser. He's being replaced by Scott Coulson. And James Meyer is coming off. 33-year-old from Sydney. Was getting frustrated, but had a good game nonetheless. He's so combative in that area, and the player replacing him, Jaden Ballarizo, is of a similar vein. Although, can sometimes be slightly over-exuberant. He's undoubtedly talented. He just needs to learn how to channel that exuberance and not earn the wrath of the referees. Well, sent off for his enthusiastic response to Jordan Farina's sparked coming together against Peninsula Power back in round 2. It's the second red card of his National Premier League's Queensland career. He's sent off for Brisbane City on his one and only appearance at 90 seconds after coming on as a substitute against North Queensland Fury from memory. Never played for Brisbane City again, moved to Easts, and as I've mentioned, fine player. Supremely talented. Good to see what he can do with a quarter of this match remaining. Here he is on the ball now in an 18 shot. That's a really nice ball to Farina. And here's an opportunity for Scott Coulson early. Coulson with that touch. Had he been on the field a little bit longer, perhaps that touch wouldn't have been quite so heavy. Lovely football, and the two substitutes making an instant impact for Eastern Suburbs. Not quite enough to fashion an equalising goal. But good bright start from both these players. Coulson, of course, also had spell at Brisbane Strikers. Doesn't know where the back of the net is. Scored 6 in 28 appearances for Brisbane City. 3 of them came in a hat-trick. Here's Ballarizo showing that pace. He went in on Wernerson. It's perfectly legally, though. That's the right type of way to channel that enthusiasm. Kuba slightly overran that and the ball was out. Well, we've seen how Danny Wright shuffled his pack early doors. How will Christian Reeves respond? He won't yet. Preston Hugo looked like he might have used an arm there, but the referee didn't see it that way. Coulson on the ball again. Doing battle with Wernerson. There's Wagstaff, apologies. Oh, that's a nice ball inside. It's going to go back to Barnett. Barnett looping that one towards the back post. Hugo challenging unsuccessfully with Junior Yabe. .22 minutes remaining in this match. Gold Coast United 3, Eastern Suburbs 2. Simon Smale with you on the call. National Premier League's Queensland round 18. It's Gold Coast United in 8th against Eastern Suburbs in 5th. There's a half programme of fixtures taking place this evening around the state. To give you a little bit of an update of what's going on, Brisbane Roar Youth are trailing Redlands United by a goal to nil in the 70th minute there at the Logan Metro Sports Park. Brisbane City have been given the response from Peninsula Power after they suffered 2 straight defeats for the first time in goodness knows how many years. 3-0 down the score there, but something of a plot twist. Peninsula Power are a man down. Here's an opportunity for Tyler Wagstaff. Tyler Wagstaff in off the post. That's a fantastic finish from the right back. Absolutely fantastic. His second goal of the season. That was absolutely magical from Tyler Wagstaff. He had so much space on this near side of the field. But he slammed that ball in to the back of the net, in off the post. Gave Sam Long absolutely no chance. And Gold Coast United, having gone a goal down, remember, on the half-hour mark of this one, now lead Eastern Suburbs by 4 goals to 2.
Goal for Gold Coast United. Goal scorer Tyler Wagstaff. Gold Coast United 4, Eastern Suburbs 2.
How will Eastern Suburbs respond? By coughing up possession, as it turns out, but it's been won back by Son Hun Yun. Fulton escaping the attentions of Kian Cuba. United win it back though. Smith caught in possession that time though. Mackay looking for an option. Goes long. Tester for Barnett. Barnett goes back to Long. Long, that's sloppy. Because here's an opportunity for Smith. Smith looked like he wanted to shoot first time. Instead he fed Tom Miller. Corner kick, which Smith will trot over to take. Just running through the goals and the happenings around the grounds before that fourth goal of the match went in. As I mentioned, City are trailing Peninsula Power by 3-0, but Peninsula Power are down to 10 men. It's Dan Cooner who's been sent off, Briggs with 2 and Strickland with 1 at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. That's where the live stream will be this weekend, Sunday, against Gold Coast United. So make sure you pay attention to that one, as Long just uses 2 fists to clear that ball away to safety, and then Scott Coulson does a far more effective job with his boot, launching at a good 70 metres or so. 20 minutes remaining there in Newmarket. Similarly interesting in terms of the top of the table at least. Moreton Bay United lead Queensland Lions by 2-1 still. 66th minute up there at Walter Park. What's happening around the grounds at the moment? The other matches of this round, Western Pride against Olympic, that's going to take place in the middle of June. South West Queensland Thunder and Gold Coast Knights and Strikers against Sunshine Coast won't take place until the 20th of July. Cuba's been left in a heap over on that far side of the field. Strong challenge. Coulson controls that one well after Farina tried to get the ball up to him, and suddenly there's all sorts of space for Miller. Miller, early pass, didn't quite make its way through to Reeves. Very scrappy. Eastern Suburbs is going to make another substitution. Matthew Saw is going to come on. Kuba is still struggling over on that far side, and in fact even Dean Verneson is stretching out his hamstrings as well. If you have just joined us, it's been an interesting game of football so far. Eastern Suburbs took an early lead through Preston Hugo in the 31st minute. Michael Thwaite's header just crept over the line in the 33rd minute. In the 34th minute, Tom Miller capitalised on an Alex Barnett mistake to make the score 2-1 to Gold Coast United, and then in the 36th minute, Yuhun Yang scored his 3rd goal in as many games to get Eastern Suburbs back on level terms. It was 2-2 at the break. Then after the half-time interval, Brandon Reeves managed to score from a header, and then Tyler Wagstaff with a phenomenal finish from the right-hand side. Substitution has come on. The mystery man wearing the number 2 shirt, I'm told, is a youth team player who's been promoted for this match. Wasn't on our team sheets. Nevertheless, there must have been a late change for that one. He's been replaced by Saw, who has played in all but one game, the 29-year-old from Rockhampton. Former Moreton Bay player. Has scored once this season against South West Queensland Thunder. He has also been sent off. 2nd yellow card against Brisbane Strikers. Gold Coast United is going to make a change as well. I believe it is Kian Cuba who's going to be withdrawn. Braden Steele will come onto the field, former striker. And by that I mean Brisbane Strikers as opposed to a position. He's yet to score this season in 14 involvements in the National Premier League's Queensland. He's jumping up and down on the spot to try and keep warm. That's all we can do to stop doing so ourselves, but I fear for our safety on this scaffold if we were to do that. So we'll just have to live vicariously through the players getting warm, and we are going to actually need to see a stretcher being brought on for Kian Cuba. Chance for the players to get themselves reacquainted with themselves and their game plans. Scores haven't changed since I last spoke to you around the rest of the ground, so perhaps a reminder that whether you're just starting out or you've been playing football for years, there is a club for you to play football in 2019. 2,200 of them, over 2,200 of them across the country, in fact. So there's got to be one that's just right for you or your child in terms of positioning or location, or indeed just the people that you want to play football with. Girls and boys can start playing for a club from the year they turn 6. So if that seems to fit into what you're saying and your circumstances, what are you waiting for? Join the team today. Visit playfootball.com.au. It is a sorry sight when a player gets taken off the field on a stretcher, and that is the fate that has befallen Kian Kuba. It's been 5 weeks since he last scored a match. It's the longest run he's had this season, as Scott Coulson gives the ball straight back to Gold Coast United. Of course, talk about that in the English Football League. It's a lovely touch. Really lovely touch, in fact, from Scott Fulton. Get that ball under control, coming over his shoulder. Coulson will take the throw. I mentioned Braden Steele it is who's come on. Coulson looking for an option, just hammers it hopefully inside towards his fellow substitute, Jaden Valorizo. Smith. Oh, a little bit of squaring up going on over there. Not sure there's much need for that. Smith wisely walks away from that situation, but Song Hyun Yun is a little bit upset with Smith. Oh, the pass almost made its way through, and in fact did make all its way through towards Jaden Valorizo. Unable to get the ball under his control though, and he gives chase. It's the tenacity that we're used to seeing from Jaden Valorizo. And how's that for a pass from Tyler Wagstaff? Nice one again for Tom Miller to run onto. Mackay is going to be forced back. Wernerson. Once again, Tom Miller got himself back on side, tried to thread the needle through towards Wagstaff. It pinballs around to get to him anyway. Now Tom Miller hammers that ball across field. Big pull of Braden Steele's shirt over on that far side of the field, unseen or at least unpunished by the referee. Gold Coast United retain possession through Thwaite. Thwaite has to turn tightly to get away from Jaden Valorizo. Here's Connor Smith. Braden Steele was offside. And Christian Rees would have to have X-ray vision of some kind to decide whether or not he wanted to protest too much about that decision. Lovely touch from Farina. Just ghosted away there. Skips past the challenge of Mackay. Plays the ball out to Coulson. He wants it first time. Does Farina. Coulson couldn't quite squeeze it past the outstretched foot of Wagstaff. That's a really poor pass though from Barnett. Well cut out by Byrne. Hugo. Far too heavy that pass. There had to be some chase in order to pick that ball up. I'm not saying that Matthew Saw is incapable of doing so. I just don't necessarily think he's quite up to speed just yet, having just come on as a substitute. Having said that, you have to be Usain Bolt in order to have chased that ball down. The Heath taking his time over the goal kick. It's eventually back in play. Hugo wins his header. His brother Preston can't win the second. It's headed back across to the far side of the field by Barnett. Preston Hugo looking to pick that ball under control. Tries to play it back to his brother, but the ball's picked off on its way through. Ends up at the feet of Sam Longvo by way of Matthew Saw. Farina does well, and then Valorizo can't take the ball with him when he goes round, and Michael Thwaite says thank you very much, and we'll play the ball forward over on that far side. Braden Steele. Oh, that's a fantastic effort, and it took a flying effort from Sam Long to divert it away from goal. It is a corner kick. So Sam Long must have got a touch. Braden Steele, oh, he let fly with that one. Would have been some goal if he'd managed to get it on target. We have another camera switch. We'll all bring gloves next time, I think. Or 7 or 8 more layers. Double socks, I find, works. Connor Smith, another pinpoint delivery over towards the far side. Thwaites with his feet. Steal. It's almost still there, is it, for Wernerson, I think it was, who took a swipe at that ball. Couldn't get enough contact on it. And Eastern Suburbs will belatedly clear up towards Farina. Farina is out-jumped, though, by Mackay, who gives a couple of helpful words of advice towards Jordan Farina as well. Chipped back in. It's at the hands of Sam Long, though, now. And Long gets the ball out quickly to Coulson. Coulson, early ball, ill-advised. He tried to thread what would have needed to be 3 needles in a row, I think, in order to play that ball out to the feet of Jordan Farina, who's had a tough day so far. Here's Braden Steele. Steele doing well against his opposite number, Tristan Hugo, but Hugo is a tough man to muscle off the ball, as you can see. His nickname's the Fridge at Brisbane City, with his brother known as the Freezer. Smith, that was a really nice pass, and it was inches away from finding its man. That man being Tom Miller, and we've seen how adept he is in a one-on-one situation so far tonight. He nearly had another opportunity. Hunyung checks. Over on that far side of the field. Hugo makes a run, so did Balarizo, and inexplicably Tim Laheath ends up on the ground in claiming that one. We're going to have a substitute, and it's going to be Ryan Kavanagh, the 19-year-old from Cairns, who's going to come on for Gold Coast United. Always fairly hammered home by the head of Tristan Hugo, back to his keeper, Sam Long. Long launches it upfield towards Balarizo. Coulson had to hurry. And now launches that ball up towards Coulson. Coulson misjudged it, couldn't control it, and it is hammered out by Tyler Wagstaff. And that's disappeared into the car park away behind us. Time now for that change. Ryan Kavanagh gets the handshake from Christian Rees. And he in turn will shake the hand of Tom Miller, who was excellent today. Worked so hard up and down this near touchline. Indeed, got that goal as well. He did really well. He played for Palm Beach Sharks in the Gold Coast Premier League last year, did Tom Miller. Just 20 years old. Second goal of the season tonight. And it was a good one. Good finish. Even if it was slightly gifted towards him, at least the circumstances around the goal were gifted towards him by that slip by Alex Barnett. Gold Coast United 4, Eastern Suburbs 2. Time running out for the Tigers. And Gold Coast United will do the double after their 1-0 victory up at Heath Park in round 3. Brandon Reeves scored on that occasion. He scored on this one too. Gold Coast just capitalising on the fact that Eastern Suburbs unable to clear their lines to score that opening goal in the second half after they went into the sheds 2 at half time. Tyler Wagstaff making sure in the 66th minute. Neat interplay. Connor Smith just wheels away in frustration because he almost released Kavanagh there. Oh, that's a poor clearance by Byrne, and all of a sudden Eastern Suburbs are back in trouble again. Kavanagh full of beans, having come onto the field, and he's dumped onto the ground to shake some of those beans loose, I expect, by Alex Barnett. Oh, and those knocks can be all the more painful in the cold weather. In case you haven't gathered from our frequent moaning, it is cold up here. Down here, Talabudra. Inland from the coast. Oh, how's that for a touch from Wagstaff? Scores his second goal of the season. Gets delusions of racing in towards the penalty area on a regular basis for right back for Gold Coast United, who are snapping a 3-game losing streak here tonight. Losing matches against Peninsula Power, Moreton Bay United and Brisbane Lions. They hadn't prior to tonight actually scored a goal at home against a top 4 side, or indeed any side that's been above them in the table when they played each other. Well, they managed 4 today to put that statistic firmly to bed. Leaf did well because Preston Hugo chased down hard. Always looked like Leaf was going to get there, but all of a sudden you did start to question. Hugo's deceptively fast for 20-year-old. Former Brisbane City player. He scored the opening goal of the game, showing some real fancy footwork as well to do so. Kavanagh has sprinted into space. It's hammered right up into the air by Barnett, who's been shaky at times tonight. It's a leaping figure of Sam Long. Coulson wanted that ball. It's hammered in the direct opposite direction of where he is, though. Smith chips that one over the top. Oh, lovely control by Steele. And Steele is dumped to the deck by Sawyer. Eastern Suburbs, the portents weren't great for Eastern Suburbs. They've been good away. Of their 8 matches so far, they've won 5 of them. Drawn just once against Moreton Bay United and lost twice up on the range in South West Queensland. Thunder in Toowoomba and against Olympic. Both by narrow margins, though. This will be the biggest away defeat they've faced so far this season. They haven't kept a clean sheet away from home, though. Gold Coast United are really turning around what has been fairly an abject home form so far this season. We'll deliver this as Smith goes for goal. That was magnificent. Great save by Long. Smith absolutely walloped that one. It was destined for the top corner, but for the hand of Long. He has been devastating from set pieces so far, Connor Smith. And he nearly topped it all off with a fantastic goal there. What a goal that would have been. That would have been worth the highlights reel. Absolutely leathered it. It's a long way out as well. I had absolutely no thoughts initially that he would be going for goal until he ran up to the ball with such intent. Another good ball. It just glanced off the head of Yarbe, I think. Yes, it was Yarbe who was there at the near post. Coulson doing battle over on that far side still. Lets the cross come in, though. Fulton hammers that one up towards Farina. Flat-footed again. And Thwaite has a lot of time, despite Farina eventually giving chase. Ballarizo's going to give chase now on Mackay. And Ballarizo does well there. And eventually, Eastern Suburbs get possession. But a little bit too casual there from Son Heung-yun. And now the space for Smith. Good defence in the end by Barnett. And then Coulson comes back to help out. Long ball. Just headed clear by Yarbe. Mackay up towards Kavanagh. And that ball is out. Barnett can't keep it in. We're going to see another substitution. It's yellow card to Son Heung-yun. So advantage was being played, or play was just being allowed to continue. Son Heung-yun getting his second yellow card of the season. Frustration has been mounting. Jam Pfefferkorn is the player coming on, the 26-year-old from Coffs Harbour. He replaces rather ginger-looking Brandon Reeves. Scored the go-ahead goal, the third goal for Gold Coast United. 3-2 goal in the second half. We have about 60 seconds remaining, and I think the referee might just blow things up pretty quickly after this. Long throw. Hammered upfield by Coulson. Ballarizo. Never goes away, Ballarizo. Oh, sorry, that was Farina. Ballarizo goes down. Campbell. Coulson is going to launch this one in. 30 seconds remaining of this game. Last chance saloon, you think, for Eastern Suburbs. Doesn't beat Verneson, but Verneson can only head it up into the air. Still there for Byrne. The lofty altitude of the opposition penalty area. Sawyer can't get his head onto that. It's still there though for Fulton. Fulton over towards Farina. It's stopped for Coulson. Coulson's going to drift it back in again. Oh, the head of Ballarizo off the post! So close from Jaden Ballarizo. Oh, Matt sloppy. We're going to see another yellow card here, and that's Jaron Peppercorn's opening contribution to this contest. It might be his only contribution to this contest. Pacey striker. Been bouncing around the Gold Coast Premier League for a couple of years. Mudgerabar, Merrimack, Gold Coast Knights for a season as well. And Burley, whose coach Colin Phelan told him to trial with Gold Coast United. Not too much longer remaining, but another opportunity for Scott Coulson to deliver his ball into a dangerous area, and Eastern Suburbs came within inches of reducing the deficit through Jaden Ballarizo's head. That's a really good ball again. It's headed clear. That's coming directly towards us. Coulson will take the throw. Farina ducks away and goes into the penalty area. Coulson tried to find him, ill-advisedly, because there were at least 3 players in front of Farina. Long's a long way from home. Ball's going back to Long, who will hope to emulate his name and get that ball up into the opposition half. Unable to do so, so Tristan Hugo does the honours. Farina can't quite muster the energy after running hard all match. Smith. Wagstaff. Campbell. Campbell took a deflection on its way through to Steele. Steele, that's a really good save, and it's going to be finished, is it, by Thwaite? No, it's not. Sorry, it's not Thwaite. Over on that far side, it is. It doesn't matter because the save was made anyway, but it should have been 5 for Gold Coast United. Farina, nice little tackle there from Verneson, just enough. And Farina gets caught in possession in a dangerous area by the effervescent Campbell. Campbell's continued his run to Long, who gets that ball up towards Tristan Hugo. Tristan Hugo's going to have to win it back and does battle. A little bit handsy with Yunya Yabe and flings Yunya Yabe to the deck, and that may well be all she wrote in this one. Players are still stretching themselves. Referee tells the players to get on with it. He'll be as cold as they are. Impressed he's not wearing any sort of base layer, or at least visible base layer, the referee, and short sleeves as well. It's to be admired on a night like this. Still we play on. Here's Coulson. This much time remaining. How important it would have been had that Ballarizo shot gone in, but for that wonderful save by Tim Laheath. Both sides have had chances to add to their scoring tonight. Kavanagh. Pfefferkorn. Steele. Chased down, but Mackay. Smith. There's a measured pass from Mackay to Smith. Smith tried to get the ball past Sawyer, unable to do so. That's a poor pass by Fulton, and then it comes off Scott Coulson, who looked like he might be in a spot of bother with his hand there. It was good defending from Tyler Wagstaff, who will take a fair amount of time, but there can't be that much more time remaining, I wouldn't have thought. 1 minute remaining, I'm told. Not sure where all that time's come from. There was a fair amount of time, I guess, for the injury of Kian Kuba and the stretcher that was required to remove him from the field. Coulson does well to keep that ball in, but Thwaite is on hand to snuff out that cross. In the centre of the field, it's played out wide by Campbell. Long ball, no composure. Brandon Rees frustrated by that lack of composure. Long ball once again from Eastern Suburbs. Farina doing battle with Wagstaff. Farina! Hasn't quite had his radar on song tonight, has he, Jordan Farina? Had a spell with the Gold Coast United youth team in 2010-2011, Jordan Farina, but it's the Gold Coast United senior team who have cast disappointment on him tonight. Gold Coast United coming from behind to win by 4-2. They snap a 3-game losing run with that victory, and they will go level on points with Eastern Suburbs in 5th as well. Fascinating league table as it looks at the moment. We'll run you through some of the other scores as well from around the grounds, because we have had a late finish here, so we should all be finished up there. Full time everywhere except up in Moreton Bay at Walter Park, and Lions have equalised against Moreton Bay United. So Marek Madley in the 76th minute. Brisbane Roar Youth, they have fallen to a 1-0 defeat against Redlands United, and Peninsula Power, despite having a man sent off, added to their score. They ran out 4-1 winners to put their run of defeats to bed. Third getting the 4th for Peninsula Power. Giancarlo Solorzano getting a consolation for City late on. We'll wrap things up here as Gold Coast United have the huddle. They'll be wanting to get into the warm showers pretty soon, as indeed will we, or certainly our warm cars. Gold Coast United running out 4-2 winners over Eastern Suburbs. It was a tight game, 2 evenly matched teams going at it for a full 90 minutes here. Goals to Preston Hugo and Yuno Yang in that first half for Eastern Suburbs. Not enough after they were cancelled out by Michael Thwaites' opening goal for United. Tom Miller's go-ahead goal to make it 2-2 at half-time, and then Brandon Reeves and Tyler Wagstaff doing the business with 2 goals in the second half. Gold Coast United, they'll be back in action and on your screens with Rafe Griffin on Sunday. Brisbane City, the opponents, up at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. 4:30, your Sunday session match of the week in the National Premier League Queensland this weekend. For Eastern Suburbs, they go back home and will play Moreton Bay United. 7 o'clock kickoff at Heath Park for that one. That's all from us here at a very, very chilly Complex Family Sports Park in Talabudra. Simon Smale on the call for you. It has been a double take production for Football Queensland. We will see you live on the Football Queensland Game of the Week in the Football National Premier League Queensland next time. Thanks for joining us.